They all shut up. They all shut down, huh?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Got a couple questions already from the story. So again, guys that are jumping on, feel free asking any of the questions you got. You can ask them either in the. Oh, I like the Collision Sports new. Okay, I see Coach Stretch.
Shout out to Religion Sports Fam.
All right, so you ready to go? Cool. Oh, I gotta keep an eye on my battery life too. Just to introduce you real quick, guys that don't know. Everyone pretty much knows Randy. You know, she's a living legend. Played at UNO. She was a beast in high school. Two-time All-State. Won a Player of the Year. Transitioned from high school to UNO, which is where I really got to see her develop and grow. Um, was I think second all time in points, leading the school program history in 3-point made, and just up there in a lot of categories at the end of the day. So she had a great year. I mean, great program over there. And then she transitioned that into now where she's playing professionally overseas. And you finished your second year?
Just finished my second year.
Just finished your second year. So again, biggest thing we want to kind of talk to you about at the end of the day is just your basketball journey, and where basketball has brought you along the way. And to kind of start with that to begin, can you kind of talk about when you first started playing basketball and when you first fell in love with the game?
So when I first started playing basketball, I was about 5 years old. And basketball is really the only sport I play now. But when I was younger, I did gymnastics, dance, Girl Scouts, tennis, and I didn't really like any of it. My mom said I went to dance like 3 days, and it was like, but she started me playing upward basketball, and I just fell in love with basketball from a young age. But with upward, when you're young, they don't keep score. So one day after a game, I asked my mom, like, did we win? She was like, they didn't keep the score. I was like, well, I don't want to play here. They're not keeping it. I don't want to play. So she put me in our local rec league and stuff like that. And so I've been playing basketball ever since then. And then when I was like 11, like 10 or 11, is when I started playing rec basketball and all-stars and everything with boys. And from there, from playing there with boys, and I played junior high basketball and high school and everything like that. But just basketball, I actually fell in love with basketball at a young age, and just falling in love with the process of actually getting better at basketball. I fell in love with that process when
No
I was
doubt.
senior in high school. So
Yeah, no doubt. And you went to Central Catholic, right?
yes.
Can you kind of talk about that experience? 1A school, smaller school. So now, like, you fell in love with the game, transitioned into high school. Can you talk about that, the recruiting process? I don't want to put like words into, but in my opinion, I felt like you were kind of under the radar, and then that kind of like fueled you to once you got into college. Can you kind of talk about all that in general?
Yeah, so a lot of people say that about me coming out of high school. When I was when I was in I started going to Central Catholic when I was in the 10th grade, and I ended up graduating from there and everything like that. I really didn't have many offers. I maybe had 3 or 4. And one, like when it came down to for me to sign, it was really out of UNO and University of Arkansas Little Rock. And I didn't want to go that far away from home, so I chose UNO. And at first, I was kind of like discouraged about it because UNO is such a small school. But I'm a firm believer in God is going to put you where you're supposed to be. So I definitely believe that I was supposed to go to UNO all along. So the recruiting process, it was a little tough. It was very discouraging
Yeah.
because I didn't have, like, I was getting letters. I was getting so many, but I wasn't actually getting like people reaching out, like coaches reaching out and stuff like that. And it was crazy. It was my last summer playing AAU. I actually ran into Coach Davenport and Coach English in Tennessee. And we were passing each other. And of course, we're not supposed to talk to them, but we were passing. kind of like called my name, and I just looked, and I didn't know who she was at the time. She was like, "Yeah," she said, "You're gonna be at UNO," and I didn't even know what she was talking about. I ended up playing there and everything like that, and I can say she's definitely one of the best coaches I've ever. That whole coaching staff, like their group of coaches, like the best group of coaches I've had uh, since I've been at UNO. And then my freshman year, it was tough my freshman year because uh, as well as I was doing in the summer workouts, when it came time for the season for me to play, I actually didn't play that much.
Yeah.
My first game, I played 18 minutes. And after that, I played like here and there. When we got to conference, I was playing 5 minutes here, 10 minutes like that. That was discouraging too because I play with boys and I'm never that, you know, and I had to realize it wasn't so much about my ability, but so much of like coach trusting me being on
Yeah.
the floor. So I would I asked her a few times, like, what do I need to do to play, and normal questions that you would ask. But then I got to a point where I just stopped asking her questions and I just started putting more coming to the gym early before practice, staying an extra hour, hour and a half with Coach English, getting extra shots and things like that. Uh, just doing things that I needed to do to get better. And if you look at my stats in the month of February, my points per game average crazy. Uh, and I even told one of my coaches at the time, she's not even the assistant coach there anymore, but she asked me, she was like, what's been the problem, everything like that. And I told her, I was like, y'all asked us our goals at the beginning of the season. I told y'all team goals, I want to make it to the tournament because we won 8 games my freshman year. My freshman and my sophomore year, we only won 8 games.
Yeah.
And like the year before I got there, they were 0-29. They didn't win a game at all. And so I was like, y'all asked me my goals for the season. I said, personal goals. I told y'all I wanted to be freshman of the year, and I said I don't feel like I'm being put in a position to be freshman of the year. She told me straight up, she was like, I've honestly never seen a freshman year come from a losing program. So I was like, okay. I was like, I show you better than I can tell you. So I just started getting in the gym like hard. Coach Davenport, she required us to be at the gym on game days an hour and a half before the game. I was getting to the gym 3 hours before the game. I
Yeah,
was
man. Funny story with that. Like my former boss at Nichols, man, she was crazy. Her and Coach Davenport cut from the same cloth.
Coach
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Coach Doobie, she crazy, just like Coach Davenport. Like we showing up to on the road at 2 hours before. We're like, Coach, what are we doing here so early? And like just trying to get up shots. And sure enough, every time we showed up, man, you was in the gym. I used to always I would tell all the kids that like, hey, she already sweating. You're in there sweating, getting up shots. Who knows how many shots you had made up before we even got in there? That's that's one of my favorite memories of you, and really, like at the end of the day, man, like that's how you became who you were. You know what I'm saying? From the kid that was getting overlooked to the kid that's the best 3-point shooter ever at UNO. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Just the extra work.
And so
But
my freshman year, I actually ended up being freshman of the year and everything like that. So that was like a big accomplishment for me. And sometimes you get caught up into I've done this, so uh I'm not perfect by far. So I have my times where I get lazy. I have my times where I get complacent. So my sophomore year I got a little complacent. And then my junior year was when I started working with Stretch, Ernest Watson. We call him Stretch. And he's from DC, but he moved to New Orleans and he's like a really good trainer out in New Orleans. If y'all ever in New Orleans and y'all need a trainer, hit up Stretch. He's with Collision Sports. He's the CEO, everything of Collision Sports. Hit him up. He's my trainer and everything like that. And my game with training with him went to a whole nother level. Like it went to another level training with Coach E, my extra workouts with Coach E. But when I did my workouts with Coach English and Stretch, it just took me to a whole nother level, which is why I was able to break so many records my junior. So, yeah, that's really my whole story. Like every level of basketball I've been on, I face adversity, but I
no
just know
doubt.
like I always overcome. So
Kind of like backtrack into your senior year. You got a lot of kids that as of 2020s or 2021s, their senior years coming down to the wire, and they're not getting those looks and everything. Like, how are you mentally? Is there anything you would go back and change through that process? I know you said you played AU. You played with the Lady Blues, or who'd you
No, I
play?
played with when I first started AU, I played with Dominoes, and then um I switched to a team in Mississippi, SME,
Yeah,
South Mississippi. Yeah. So I started playing with them. I want to say my ninth grade summer or my 10th grade summer, and then I played with them until I finished AAU. But it's tough. Because even Coach, I forgot his name. He used to coach with you at Nichols.
JP, JP.
He would tell me all the time. He said, "Man," he said, "not recruiting you was probably one of the worst things I did." He was like, "I'm not." He said, "I was one of the ones that was underrated." He said, "I should have recruited you." And even when we played Alabama, because the coach that was coaching at McNeese,
Yeah,
she's coaching at Alabama now. She's coach there, and she was saying the same thing. Um, I don't hold it against anyone. It's just that's how it was supposed to go. So and playing against Nichols, playing against one of the top, like some of the top teams in the Southland Conference, like also made me the player I am. Like to know that y'all would, and I don't want to sound cocky, but to know that a lot of y'all scout report was just like, okay, how are we gonna stop Randy? So it's like me knowing that I'm in practice, like this is what they're gonna do, so I'm gonna work this much harder. So whatever they have doesn't work. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? So it definitely made me a better player playing against, especially Nichols, and playing against because Coach Doobie does not like to lose to so all of that definitely made me a better player.
Yeah. That's what's up, man. I love it. We'll jump into some questions again, guys. Anybody that's jumping on, man, feel free. We got a little question box at the bottom. You can ask a question there. You can also ask in the chat. All right, we got a question from Crystal Freeman. She was one of our LGR live people earlier. She's a senior at Tulane. She asked, "How was the transition from college to overseas?"
The transition from college to overseas, I think the hardest part was being away from home. I think the hardest part was being away from home because I hadn't sorry, this is my niece. Uh say hey. I think the part was just being away from home, because I'm from home and I went to school in New Orleans, so I think that was the hardest part. And I'm a picky eater, so the food was kinda rough. But in Finland a lot of people eat pizza, so it wasn't that bad. But and just adjusting to the level of play. So I feel like here the level of play, IQ wise, is a little better than over there. So and I mean but the physicality is different over there. So the physicality is they play way more physical over there. So
Yeah,
you have to get used to, especially if you're an American, they expect you to be able to take more fouls, and you get more fouls called on you. So just adjusting to that and being able to be better at creating contact and being and finishing with contact. That was really like one of the biggest things I had to adjust to, because there's a lot of times I was getting to the free throw line and it could have been and ones, but it's like I'm waiting on the contact, or
yeah,
I'm getting all at all just because of the contact and everything like that.
yeah. You for real playing with some grown women too. At the end of the day.
Right. My
Um,
she was 40 years old. My host player in Finland, she was 40.
Wow, that's crazy. Like I can only imagine. Like I read an article and just kind of briefly went over. And you talked about how hard it was going through the holidays and stuff like that. Like not having Christmas. I think you had said your mom flew over, but it just wasn't quite the same. Having family, friends, all that stuff. You talk about
Right.
that a little bit.
So this my first season. I was not able to come home for Christmas or anything. So it was tough, especially because I was in Finland for 8 months straight. So by the time we get into the seventh month, and then we were the number one team in the league, so we were like playoffs. So by the time we we going home, like everybody else, the teams that did playoffs, they going home late March. It's like we still have another month. So that was just like tough, because it's like, man, I'm ready to be home. Like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm ready to be home. Like I'm working, but like I'm ready to be home. So it was a little tough, but being in Finland, like they really made it feel like home. My teammates and everything like that. They included us in everything, so it wasn't as bad. But it's still rough, especially being from Louisiana and missing Mardi Gras. I haven't been to Mardi Gras too. So
That's awesome. All right, we got again. Anybody that's jumping on, guys, feel free to ask any questions. We got the question box at the bottom. That's probably the easiest way, or you can ask a question in the chat. We got a question here from Coach Stretch. What's a normal day for you overseas?
normal day, wake up, go lift weights. And see, overseas, it's not as, oh, you practice. People's like, oh, how many times do you practice a day? We practice one time a day because a lot of people don't understand. Overseas, we're really, most of the time, the Americans are really the only people getting actually paid. Like, all of the other locals, they have school. Like, we have juniors on our team, so girls that's like 17, 18 years old, that's still in school or still in college. So they have school. They have regular jobs and stuff like that. So a lot of times, we're not even practicing until 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. So, and everything else we're doing on our own as far as weights and conditioning, things like that. So, normal day overseas is like in the morning. I have, in the morning, I'll go to weight. I'll do weights. I go lift in the morning. Then I'll go eat at the place that one of our sponsor spots. And then I'll go shower, chill, take a nap, whatever. And then I'm going to the gym to shoot. We have times, a lot of times where we can go shoot, maybe like an hour and a half. So I'm going to shoot, coming back to the apartment, relaxing, getting some treatment, stretching and everything like that. And then by the time I'm finished that, I'm getting ready to go back to the gym for practice. And the biggest thing with longevity with your body is treatment and stretching. That's the biggest thing, treatment and stretching. It was like really like that I've had to learn, just taking care of your body. Saunas are really big overseas. Getting in the sauna, getting in the pools and stuff like that. Like all of that helps as far as longevity to help you just make your career longer and just have you playing longer and playing better. You don't want to be 26, 27 years old. Every day there's a new fresh legs in basketball every day. So
Yep.
27 years old and you're playing, you have to be able to keep up with the younger people as well. So
No doubt. Oh, we had Teresa on too, so it's funny that you say that. She had talked about too, like it's a different type of grind. Whenever you get to the professionals versus college, college you got class, you got all this stuff. It's like it's just mentally draining more. And at the end of the day, whenever you go professional, your body is your money maker at the end of the day. So you got to really take care of your body and take care of day in day out. Like they're not paying you to sit on the bench, so they're gonna want you to come and play.
right.
That's a great point.
Right, and it's like there is like different from college. It's different, like so in college it's like coaches like, listen, y'all have mandatory ice baths, y'all have this, y'all have that. Overseas, the training aspect and that aspect of it is not as advanced overseas as it is here. So it's a lot of stuff like overseas. Sometimes you're taping your own ankles. You know what I'm saying? Like in Finland, we're taping our own ankles. A lot of stuff we're doing on our own. So, and actually, that's actually what I went to school for, exercise physiology. So it's a lot of stuff I'm doing on myself just to keep my body right. That way, I'm doing majority of the maintenance my own self. By the time I get to the trainer, all I need you to do is massage this area or do that, because that's most of the time. If you say I need this or I need that, they're really just going to massage anyway. Because what you're asking for, they're like, what is that in our language? I'm like, I don't know. Like, oh, you mean this? And they say whatever it is in their language. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, this is what I need.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Get to some more questions. We got a coach that asked, "How's the girls' game overseas compared to America? How is it different?"
Really, the physicality is like one of the biggest things. Like, girls overseas do not care. Like, girls are pushing for no reason, no apparent reason. Like, I don't even have the ball yet, and you're in my face. Can you back up? Like, it's little stuff like that. And you have those players in the league that teammates are like, she's a dirty player. Like, she's pinching you. She's doing all of this, like, while the ref can't see it and stuff like that. So sometimes they go a little overboard. So sometimes it's hard to, like, keep your composure because, like, you really just push me out of the air. Like, I could have gotten hurt. And you're pushing me for no reason. But
What about like the officials? The officials let it be physical,
oh,
more physical.
let it slide. They like, you American, so you should be able to take that. They let it slide. Like, I'm like, and every time, like, I shoot, I come down and I'm falling, like, oh, you're just falling. I'm like, no, she has to let me land. She's coming under me while I'm shooting. And they're like, oh, that's a tech if you flop again. And I'm just like, okay. Like, one time they did, I was guarding this girl. She was from France. I was guarding her. She was from France. She's way bigger than me. And she was posting me up and she kept throwing her elbows. And I fell and they were like, oh, you have to get up the whole hour. We were playing at home. Everyone was like, oh, girl, if you don't get out of here with that.
Yeah.
And everyone, they were like booing the ref because they like saw that how the girl like hit me and everything like that. And it was just crazy. And the ref was like, get up. He was like, if you do that again, we're gonna call a tech. And I'm like, okay. But it's crazy, like the physicality. Like I said, the basketball IQ, you just have to get used to being the player, like being the smartest player on the floor. You know, and like that's just how it was this season. And the team I played on this season was a really good team. We were just a young team. I think I was the second oldest person on the team, and that was a little different.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was a little different for me being the coming from a team where I had a lady that's 40. So I don't have to like be the leader to where I'm the second oldest. No. To where I'm the second oldest player on the team. And it's like they're looking at me for a lot of stuff, and I'm like, I might be the second oldest, but I'm still young. This is only my second year, so I'm trying to lead, and I'm like, okay, so I'm trying to learn as I go as well. So that was a big learning experience, but I appreciate that experience because it definitely made me a better leader.
Cool. We got another question. Someone asked, how did you get into to be on overseas radar? Like, how did you get that process? Any advice or steps that are needed to take that next step?
Biggest thing is really just being in college, just doing working hard to where you can be on that radar. Actually, when I was in my senior year, I actually got invited to the WBA Combine. And then from there, I got an agent, and then my agent was really having a good agent helps too, with all of that stuff. So that's like two of the biggest things: making sure you're doing your part on the floor, and then having a good agent that's gonna negotiate well for you and all kind of stuff like that. And another thing, a lot of people don't know with overseas contracts, try to tell your agent what you want as far as flights, meals, car. Like, if you want all of that, ask for it. I mean, the only thing they can do is say no.
Yeah.
So if you want all of that, make sure you at least ask. Make sure you at least tell your agent to ask. Like, you want bonuses, or you want a car, like you want 2 round trip tickets home. That way you can come home if you're able to come home. If you have a break in the season, so where you can come home for Christmas. That way you can come home for Christmas and come back, and you don't have to pay for that. Just small things like that, and just everything. Like, even if you can negotiate, 3 round trip tickets. That way you can fly your mom out and fly her back, and she not have to pay for it. This little stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
you can, like, there's nothing wrong with asking, and just make sure, like, if they say no, then it's not in the budget, then okay. But if they say yes, there's no harm in asking.
Heck yeah. That comes with experience more than anything, man. Like, now you
Right.
know from the first time, now you know to the second time moving on. Again, guys, anybody that's joining us will be here for like another 5 minutes or so. Feel free to ask any questions in the question box or in the comments.
You want
We'll
to sit
get
on
to
it?
another question. Oh, it's a good one right here. Who was the toughest defender you faced in high school and college?
Toughest defender. That's tough. I would have to say in high school. I honestly don't remember a whole bunch of teams we played in high school, but in college, um, this girl, my freshman. Her name is she went to McNeese. Her name is Jalen Johnson. She was a pretty tough
Oh
defender.
yeah, she's quick, man. She was quick, feisty.
Defender. Uh, Tia's a pretty tough defender too. Just because Tia is she's so quick with her hands.
Yep,
She's
no
so quick.
doubt.
She is a pretty tough defender as well.
Hey, Tia had some help too. We were sending 2 and 3 people at you at times, so
Oh,
Tia had some help.
played all at Nichols. I can remember Tia was on me, and then Coach Doobie was calling one person, go, and then I hear she go. But I'm like, man, she's people. But that was like I really like that was just some of the best basketball. Just and I tell anyone like that era of the Southland Conference like will never be the same because the era like of us playing in the Southland Conference, just that class and everything like that that was like a really good talented like even from my freshman year, even the girls that were seniors, juniors, all in my freshman year, like that group of talent, it was just unmatched in the
Yeah,
Southland Conference.
especially in Louisiana. You know, all the
Right.
Louisiana schools are really rocking and rolling at that time, man. Again, guys, anybody that's jumping on, we'll be here for like another 5 minutes. Get to some more questions. What was your favorite on the court go-to move?
Step back.
Step back all day. It's got to be a three, or it can be anywhere.
Anywhere.
Awesome, man. I love that for sure.
Uh
So what I really like to kind of do with this whole thing, at the end of the day, we're trying to bridge the gap. You know, we got middle school and we got high school kids that are watching. Some college kids as well that are watching. You know, they're trying to follow your footsteps. Is there any advice you can give the young middle school or high school kid, you know, going through this whole process that's got dreams and aspirations to kind of follow in your footsteps? Can you give
um
them any advice?
really just to work hard in everything you do. It doesn't matter whatever you do, whether you decide to keep um playing basketball, school, anything. Just work hard and just know that at any time, like this could be taken from you. Like everyone was, in the NBA season, the WNBA season, everyone is just so looking forward to it this year, and it's not even here. You know what I'm saying? Like NFL, like everything. Well, the NFL was already done, but like the NBA, everything, like just don't take anything for granted because I'm pretty sure all those guys, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, like all those guys just knew they were going to play a whole season, and then you play one game and then you can't play anymore the next season. So just never take any chance you get on the court for granted just because you never know when's going to be like your last chance on the court or in anything. You know what I'm saying? Like
No
just don't
doubt.
granted, and whatever you do, work hard and give it your all. Always give 110%. Because then one time you don't give 110%, you're gonna regret it because it might just be the last time you had the chance to give 110%.
That's big time, man. I got chills again. Like thinking back to, and you know, I hope some of my girls are watching. We were talking about it with my coaching staff, where you never know who's watching at the end of the day. Like I said, whenever we would walk into UNO Lakefront Arena and see you in there working out, man, like I literally told my team about that this year. Like how much you put into it, and that's just like that's what it takes at the next level. Like you got to be there 2 hours before. Like you got to have that mentality to where you're going in there before anybody and you're there after everybody. Um, Last thing, I want you to kind of talk about what about like life after basketball? What's your plan after the ball stops bouncing to kind of end this journey out and take that next transition?
My next transition in the future, I really want to at some point own my own sports facility. And I don't honestly, as long as I'm doing anything to help people, I'm fine. I love helping people. That's the biggest thing, and especially kids. You know, there's so many kids out here that they're especially in this generation. You have so many younger people having kids. You know, so kids are out here defending themselves, are fending for themselves, and they don't really have someone to be there to help them and everything like that. So my biggest thing is really to be in a position to help kids. I tell anybody now, like if I were rich, like I train kids here and there now. I tell anybody if I were rich, I would train kids for free. Just because, as long as if it's keeping them out of the streets, keeping them out of trouble, then they shouldn't have to pay for it. You know, so that's really one of my biggest goals in the near future. And I've actually been thinking about maybe becoming a nurse. I love the medical field and things like that. So possibly being a nurse in the neonatal.
One of the coaches said you were going to try to help out with some AAU this year.
Yeah, that I want to help out with that too. Whenever AU gets back, possibly being a coach. I don't know. I always said I never wanted to be a coach, but
Yeah.
possibly being a coach. I've done coaching here and there, and I actually enjoy it. Just to be able to uh, pour into kids' lives and just to have that connection with the kids and they feel comfortable enough for me to not just look at me as a coach, but to look at me as someone they can come to outside of basketball. That's really big for me. Just having a connection with the kids and everything that with or without basketball.
No
You never know
doubt.
what kids are going through so at home or anything like that. So that's a big thing for me as well. So
That kind of leaves one more question that someone has said that you kind of touched on a little bit, man. Is there any advice that like a coach kind of gave you that kind of helped you along the way? You can kind of share with us, or anybody that kind of influenced you along the way to get to where you're at.
um I think I don't know. I can't really say it's one thing that a coach has told me because between Coach Davenport and between Coach English, they've told me so many things that I've helped. While I was at UNO, it's like so many, too many to count. My biggest inspirations that helped me get to where I am. One is definitely my mom. Another is actually both of my parents. Um, and in the basketball world, I would have to say Ernest Washington Stretch. He trains me, and it was at times where I didn't really see my own potential. He always made me realize, and he always got the best out of me. He's one person that he didn't look at me as, oh, Randy Brown the superstar. He looked at me as Randy Brown, but like, you the superstar, but we can get you even better. So he always pushed to get the best out of me at all costs. Doesn't matter. I can remember my senior year, we played UL my first game, and I played so bad. I played so bad. And we played. I want to say the game started like 6 or 7 o'clock. I played so bad. I think I only had 7 points that game, and we lost. And the craziest thing and the hardest part about that loss is later in the season, Dillard actually beat UL.
Uh,
So I was like, this is so I'm on the phone with him. I'm upset. And he knows when I get upset, I start crying. I'm like, dude, like, what is wrong with me? He was like, nothing. He said, when you get off that bus, he said, how long it take y'all to get from Lafayette back to New Orleans? I said, about 2 hours maybe. He said, okay. He said, when you get off that bus, go to your dorm room, change your clothes. I'll be outside. Got to the dorm room. I let him know we just made it to the gym. As soon as I got to the dorms, he was outside. We were in the gym. After I finished playing that day, we were in the gym until like 12 o'clock that night till midnight. We were in the gym. The next game, we were in the NIT, the WNIT,
yeah,
and
appreciate it.
the first game we played CSUN. I think that's what it was, and I had 38 points the next game. And it's like, so he's always been that person that no matter what happens, he pushes me to be better. And even when I have my moments where I'm like, man, I don't need to do this, or man, he like, no, stay with your basics. We're gonna go back to this because you never ever ever forget about your basics. So he's someone that I really look up to because he pushed me. He doesn't see me as the person that's broken. He sees me as a person that can be better and break more records.
Yep. I love that, man. And Randy, man, I appreciate you spending some time with us.
No
Again,
problem.
everybody that was watching, man. We really want to have Randy on here again so she can kind of share that story, man. She was under recruited as a senior in high school and transitioned that into one of the best players that ever really played through UNO. Now she's getting paid to play this game. Basketball's really taking her a long way. So even if it's not
Sorry,
going your way early, man, just keep on working.
I'm sorry. My niece, she's like, yeah.
It's
Um,
all good, man.
a
You
shout out
want?
to them Academy Eagles of Point Capee. I don't actually know where that's at, but I know it's like down the bayou. Someone asked, someone asked, what's the hardest adjustment about overseas? One of the hardest adjustments is the time. I be up at like 5 in the morning, and it only be like 3 o'clock in the evening here, so that'd be one of the toughest things. Okay, I think that's all the questions that I didn't get to, or that we might
Cool.
not.
Again, man, Randy, if you need anything my way, feel free to reach out. Hopefully, we can get these gyms
I
open
need
up, man.
a
And
shirt.
you can come.
No shirt you're wearing. That's all I need.
I got you. I got you, man. Text me your address. I'll drop it in the mail tomorrow.
Of course. Thank you.
All right, Randy. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
I enjoyed it.
All right, here we go. Let's see. Welcome, welcome, everybody coming in. Hey, coach, there he is. Let's see.
Hey, Coach.
Coach, what's going on? How are y'all?
Good. Can you hear us?
Yes, sir. Everything is good
Awesome.
on y'all's end, man.
Awesome. Awesome.
That'll work. Let's give everybody a couple minutes just to kind of get on. Let me see if I can find this picture. How y'all doing in all this coronavirus madness?
Man, it is a crazy time, is it not? Just adapting. Even Governor Abbott just came out for Texas just a few hours ago and released a lot of new information in terms of youth sports camps, clinics, AAU stuff. Professional sports in Texas can all start May 30th.
I saw that. That's big news. I saw Premier said that they're going to start, they can officially start hosting events on June 15th. So that's what I was kind of posting on our social media and everything. I think that's, some positive news for everyone that's been kind of anxious, waiting. At least we got some type of a game plan to kind of start getting it.
We just need like some kind of hope to get out of the gym, to get out of the house, to go see people again.
Man, tell me about it. My kids are like dying to come shoot in my gym, but like we finished a court yesterday just because we have all this downtime and everything, and then now we're starting to do like a deep cleaning and all that stuff. So they're like jumping at the bits. I'm like, that's just a couple more weeks. I think we're gonna be there.
Yeah, so we're getting there. Yes, sir.
Cool. Well, again, anybody that's jumping on, guys, you can feel free to have any comments, questions. Little question box at the bottom. We got a couple questions on there already. That's going to be the easiest way to do it. You can also comment in the chat. We'll try to pin your comments in there, and we'll just kind of ping pong it back and forth. So, y'all ready?
Yes, sir. Whatever you need us.
Cool. First of all, if y'all just want to introduce yourselves, Coach Henson and Coach Brown, just kind of introduce yourself, talk about your experience, your basketball journey in general.
Go ahead, thanks.
I'm Cheyenne Brown. I just finished my playing career at Harding University. I was there for 2 years before I transferred from Northwestern State, where I started off for 3 years. It's been an experience, and I'm so excited to start this new career path.
And those that don't know, Coach Brown, I was at Nichols. She was at Northwestern. She busted us up a couple times.